place is nowhere. And it's forever.
Ghosts of my life.
It's good to be young, but let's not kid ourselves. It's better to pass on through those years and come out the other side with our hearts still beating, having stared down demons, come back breathing. People were mean to you, but I always thought you were cool. Clicking down the concrete hallways in your spiked heels back in high school.
All right.
Welcome, Patreon listeners, to the number 8 philosophy podcast in all of Austria. This is the first bonus episode for Patreon of
Thank you for your
Future.
support.
Thank you for your continued support. If you think to yourself, wait a second, my continued support, but their mics are still shitty. Well, that just means you need to continue to support us harder. But anyway, welcome back to Lost Futures,
A Mark Fisher podcast, and we're experimenting left and right here with this kind of episode. We're deciding to go out on a limb.
We're not on the book anymore. We're bookless.
We're choosing a random topic that we just chose that Marlowe and I like to talk about. Oh, by the way, I'm Steven. This is Marlowe, and we like to talk about Mark Fisher, but in this episode, we're going to choose something that Mark Fisher didn't talk about.
So, if you've been listening to the series, you might have noticed that some of my biggest issues with Mark Fisher are he likes music from England that's boring to me. So, we decided, what if Mark Fisher liked things from America that Marlowe liked?
Yeah, but he didn't, so we're here to fill in the gaps of what if he did.
Yes.
What would Mark Fisher do?
So anyway, we're talking about the Mountain Goats, American indie folk band from the 90s through today, fronted by John Darnell. And we picked this particular band, number one, because it's a band that both me and Steve are pretty familiar with on our own, and number two, we think that thematically in a couple areas it aligns itself with the theses of Ghost of My Life, specifically the chapters that should be coming out about the time we're recording this.
What chapter specifically, and what kind of topics?
So specifically the chapter discussing the Red Riding series, David Peace, but not limited to that.
No.
But specifically in that chapter, Mark discusses, one, the concept of anti-nostalgia, and two, even though he has another section of the book titled this, he first broaches the topic of state of place here. And both of these themes, I believe, are very present in a lot of the Mountain Goats. But before we really get into that, Steve, let's give a background on what the Mountain Goats.